This is Miko, and Miko's going to learn hold, so she's going to learn how to retrieve. Remember, a retrieve is a continuation of hold. First, we get the dog to hold an object in their mouth. Then we get the dog to go for an object. And at that point, when the dog is traveling to get an object, that's a retrieve. It's still not over at that point, because we have to have the dog pick the object up off the ground, and that's where the sticking point is. So the dog learns to hold the object with me putting it in its mouth. We don't give it an option. We just start putting it in its mouth. But when the dog's never had any of this training, we also have to get the dog used to being on a table, because generally speaking, I teach the dog hold up on a table. Why do I do this? Because if I don't, I have to bend over. It makes it very difficult. And when the dog is putting the object in their mouth, they just spit it out right away. So you have to be able to pick it up and put it in the dog's mouth, open the dog's mouth and put it back in. We're not giving the dog an option. This is strictly about compulsion. You must do this, dog. And all dogs learn to do this, but you have to take the time and teach them properly. This is something that, like, if you worry about, like, does the dog like to do it? Sam the Raven's right up ahead. If you worry about, does the dog like to do it, the dog's going to miss out on a lot of things. Because this dog, or any dog that we teach hold, it doesn't matter if they're, worried at first. We can always spit in the dog's mouth. I've talked about this before if you want to calm the dog. But we want the dog to learn how to retrieve, because it will be such a positive thing for the dog. You can teach the dog frisbee. You can have the dog pick up objects off the ground. You can keep the dog working for the entire lifetime of the dog. So we don't worry about it. Even before I do the stick, I might even just get the dog used to having to deal with my hand. So I might just get the dog used to, like, opening its mouth like this, which I did. I already did about a 10-minute session with this dog. This is Sam the Raven screwing with my leash. But the leash should be up here, but Sam the Raven just took it off. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you have to get the dog used to you just fiddling with its mouth and putting objects in its mouth. So at a point, I'll even just, like, have the dog hold my thumb like this. That's it. And what we're looking for in the first sessions, which I got to put this leash back and get Sam the Raven out of here. So hang on, let me cut this off. Okay, I got my Raven out of here. He's interrupting my training session and my video. He's obnoxious. If you're going to get a Raven, make sure you know what you're getting into. So we had to get the dog used to being up on a table. That's one. We had to get the dog used to me opening its mouth. That's two, right? Which the first session, this kind of took care of this. But the one thing that we really need the dog to do is hold an object in its mouth. And for that object, we use a wood rod like this. This is the most effective. I find the dogs take to wood easier. And at a point, what I'll do is I'll put 2 tennis balls on the end, so it's a dumbbell. So when we do have the dog pick the object up, it'll be easier for it to pick it up. In other words, if it was like this, it's harder for the dog to pick up if it's on the ground like this. But if it's raised up, we want to make it easier for the dog. Now, right now, and for today and tomorrow, all I want her to do is put this in her mouth for a second. That's it. But like I said, we don't give the dog an option. There are no options. Just hold this. I know that at a point, the dog's going to see what we're doing. The light bulb will go off, and all the hard work will be worthwhile. Having a dog that can retrieve and work for the rest of it, it's beneficial to your dog's behavior. It's quality of life for your dog, teaching your dog something like this. But you have to take your time. You have to be thorough. And don't worry about it at first when the dog is uncomfortable. They'll learn that this is no big deal, and they'll start just lunging for it and going for it. So right now, we just want the dog to put this is Miko. We just want Miko to put this in her mouth for a few seconds. By the way, this is very important, having a leash on the dog in a kind of high collar. We want it up around her neck, and we want to make sure that this leash, there's a little bit of tension on it. So it's real short, real short. We're just looking for a second. No. Hold. Hold, hold, drop. Good girl. That's good. That's good. Remy, come on. So we'll do it one more time, and then she gets a break, and we'll come back in about a half an hour, and we'll do it again. And each time we do it, we're looking for less resistance from the dog. We're looking for more acceptance. So we'll do it one more time. No. No. Sit. Hold. 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 Drop. Good. Good girl. That's good. Good girl. That's very nice. Sit. Do it one more time. Good girl. You're doing great. Good girl. Sit. Hold. 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 That's pretty good. That's good. That's very good. Now, we're not going to tax the dog out. She was actually holding it without me putting pressure on the upper and lower part of the muzzle for like a second. That is great. That's what you want to look for. You want to see the dog starting to give up, like, okay, this is no big deal, I'll do it. One more time. Let's try it one more time. Hold. 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 Drop. Good girl. Good girl. One more time. No. Hold. 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 Drop. Good girl. Now, if you notice, I'm putting pressure underneath like this, right? There's a little divot here. I'll put pressure underneath there. And I'll also, at the very beginning, I'll put pressure on top of her muzzle too. This will dissipate over a few days where I put it in her mouth and she'll hold it and I'll be able to back up and she'll sit there and hold it. That's your first step to getting your dog to retrieve. Get the dog to hold it. Remember, the act of holding, that's a retrieve. Go over there and hold it and bring it back to me, dog. All that other stuff will be trained in over this month, will be trained in. In other words, you need to come to heel, and we tie it all together. Go over and hold this object, and then come back to heel and release it to my hand. She'll do it. I want to say one thing about Shibas. Shibas are known as a dog, a breed that's hard to train. Akitas, Shibas, GSPs. There's a lot of breeds out there that people say are hard to train. Not really. Not really. All dogs are sort of hard to train. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have 4 million dogs dying every year because of no training, lack of training, or improper training. All of them could have been trained. Every one of those. It doesn't matter what breed your dog is. It can learn to do a retrieve. It can learn to hold. I've taught 10-year-old dogs to hold and pick up objects before. All this bullshit about you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It is easier when they're young like this. This is a 10-month-old dog. You know, if you call me up and say I have this, 6-month-old dog and whatever breed it is, and give me this bullshit, can you? Yes, I can train it. I can train it to do whatever you want. You give me a young dog. It is easier when they're young. That is true. But that doesn't mean that the old dog can't learn. This dog will be retrieving in 30 days. Watch this. Might not be a real far retrieve, but she'll probably be able to do 6, 7 feet before she goes back. She has to be able to pick up my keys. We'll go over all this later. This is a very nice dog, by the way. I like her. She's real sweet. She's very normal. We'll do my pigeon, Remy. Want to see Remy? Remy, come here. Look, it's Remy the pigeon. Isn't she beautiful? Look at Miko. Miko likes her. Anyway, it's Miko. Watch this Shiba learn how to retrieve. She's going to be fine. One more time. So one more time. Hold. 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 Drop. Good girl. Now that time, she really was giving up. She was just accepting it, and that's what you want to look for. Look for the dog to accept the object. You're home free. But be thorough with this. Take your time. Make sure and don't skip over anything. Take your time. Teaching a dog hold is going to be a minimum of 3 weeks to a month with most dogs. Some dogs can pick this up after 2 weeks. It's not, if it takes her the whole month, it's no indication that it's a stupid dog. It isn't. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It's probably not going to take a full month with her. She's going to do great. Good girl. Here. No, turn around, sit. This is Bowser, and he's about 4 months old, and what we're doing in this video is we're working on retrieves. But I want you to notice a few things about this video. Is that one, we're in the shade. Okay, that's very important when you're doing retrieves, because if it's hot out, remember they have to use their mouth to breathe. So when it gets real hot out, you'll get refusals, and that's not building on success. It's early in the morning. Hold. Good. Here. Beautiful. Nice job. Sit. Right? And also, even more important, is the dog is calm before it goes on the retrieve. It's in the sit position or whoa. Sit. Hold. Here. Heel. Heel. Sit. Beautiful. Nice. Sit. Drop. You notice that? The dog is calm. Why? Because the retrieve is positive reinforcement. So if your dog is jumping around excited before it goes on the retrieve, you're conditioning the dog to be excited. And remember, excitement is the point. All dogs make mistakes.